Hello. I'm making this quick little video because of kind of the mental state I've been observing around Facebook groups and stuff. There's a lot of frustration and I think we all know that people aren't doing well right now. Being cooped up alone and locked up when we're really social creatures, etc., etc. But I guess more than that, as human beings, I think that a lot of us find ourselves in this spot where we're just kind of washing, rinsing, and repeating, day after day is kind of the same. And that's great if it's great. And if your inner dialogue is fantastic, that's wonderful. I do feel like it's not like that for a lot of people, though, from, what I can see, because there's not this whole kind culture in a lot of places. But regardless, I'm not here to talk about any of that stuff, because that's not really... I'm here because I've really been following and searching for a way to just kind of break out of these mental loops of thinking about things in the wrong way and, obsessing. And even if I don't know it's obsessing, that wash, rinse, and repeat thing is definitely a loop and it gets dull. And so I guess the monotony of always doing the same thing leads to, in my view, kind of an apathy, a self-apathy. And then I don't enjoy my life anymore, right? And I feel like the purpose is to enjoy. So this video is basically some of the information I've found in trying to break those loops. And the reason I'm making a video is because there's just so many people around me doing so many fantastic things. And I wanted to kind of jump in there with my 2 cents because not everybody is the same. Right? I think we're all seeing a lot of yoga and meditation groups and, virtual groups probably now. I myself am taking a kundalini yoga class from my sister. It's been amazing, and it is part of the reason I'm here. Actually, right now doing this is because it's opening up in me things that I was already working to open up on my own in a different way. Right? So I have never really been one for yoga. I don't want to go and hold a bunch of poses and stuff. And I had some problems where it was a little difficult to do that as well. So I kind of shut it down back when I was in my 40s. I stopped doing yoga for a bit. But I didn't stop. I started then and then I didn't continue is what I should say. It's not that I was ever doing it. Because I wasn't. But this whole thing about how do you actually change who you are and how you feel inside. I think we all know that the thinking isn't the easiest thing to do, right? They say that, with a negative thought, the best way to get rid of them is to put in positive thoughts, right? So positive thinking, but we also know that that's not always that easy. There's shitty stuff going on or stuff is, there's this whole mind, body, spirit phenomenon happening, I think, with all human beings. And so I just want to say that I have found some techniques that are literally for people that couldn't stop their minds before. I have tried meditation and, and nothing is, I know the benefits, and that's the only reason I've actually found these things is because of the benefits. I wanted the results without doing the work. I was looking for a hack. And that's basically who I am. I'm kind of a cherry picker. I'm looking for the hack, the softer, easier shortcut. Yes, but in the long run, I ended up getting something that works. So I am super stoked about it. And I want to tell you about it. So, because I had a friend reach out to me this morning, and I'm hoping that I can help them a bit more by talking a bit more about why I sent the information I sent. Because literally the name of the game, I think once you get past all the things that you have to do, is how do I live with myself? How do I enjoy every day? And they say meditation is the way. everywhere you go, I think that's consensus. And that's great. I get it. Just don't know how to meditate. So I'm getting there. I'm getting better. So these are some of the first steps, though, to actually, when you sit down and do a practice of some kind, or stand up and do a practice of some kind, or however you do it, some kind of a practice in your life to add to your life and add to the quality of your life, you know, that when you walk away from it, you're a better person. Now, I mean, the gym is like that for sure, but mental, yeah, maybe emotional, I don't know, maybe. But that whole person thing that's going on, that's kind of where I want to be, and finding myself waking up to be new and exciting and changing and different and dynamic and creative and, you know, all these things that benefit me. And that is actually what has happened. Self-love works. What can I say? But I know there's so many people like me out there. I just know there is, that just couldn't ever shut their brains up. I mean, I can't shut my mouth up half the time, but my brain, way worse. So, and some people, it keeps them up at night, right? Like, it's so important to know who's the master here. And what do I mean when I say that? Because the brain, if you are the brain slave, it is a horrific life. I think. I don't know. Unless your brain is full of great thoughts and lollipops and rainbows. But if you are the master and the brain is the slave, the game changes. Because it is one of the most sophisticated pieces of technology on the planet Earth, is the human brain. And we're its bitch, basically. We're like, oh, okay, you said this, I do that. I learned that, I do this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and ultimately I'm doing that too, right? But the thing is meditation is the detachment of that. And that's why meditation is so key in finding oneself, finding a place where they're okay no matter what's going on outside of them, right? So basic stuff. I'm learning that this is basic, but I'm just learning it. But more than that, I put out a posting on Facebook a little while ago wondering who I knew that does Wim Hof. 2 people liked it. And not that people like my posts, because they don't, but, you know, artwork, though, people like. It's interesting what people do like. I find it interesting where, you know, Facebook garners all the likes. But when it came to Wim Hof, nobody in my group knows so much about him. I heard another fella that I mentioned to the other day. He knew who he was, at least, so that was cool, right? Because he's making the news, the scientific news. He has the ability to fight off disease, people. Like, if he's injected with a disease, a deadly disease, he can program his body. He basically, just by breathing, when I say program, it's not like, oh, I'm programming my body, but by breath work and maybe therapy. I don't know the cold water therapy. I don't know the exact thing, but it's nothing. He doesn't do anything, but he can repel the disease. He's also trained people to do this. I think it's really important to know this kind of stuff is out there, especially in the days of COVID. Because they're not, from what I hear and understand, COVID isn't going anywhere. It's just going to mutate. So we need to find that place that can fight off disease, number one. It's just a thought. Because they say the vaccines aren't going to work either with the mutations, right? It'll be like the flu shot. You're going to have to get a new one every year, right, for the new mutation. But if you can fight off the disease on your own, for those people that are a little more holistic, this one might make a little more sense, right? So that's one of the amazing things about Wim Hof. But more than that, like, the methods that I'm basically talking to you guys about today, these things are free, people. These are things that you can do. You don't need no special equipment. You don't need anything. This is just you. You need to make a choice, is what it is, right? So the thing that I love about that is it's accessible to everybody and it helps you. So these are actual gifts from people out there, right? Like, learning how to meditate is a gift. Yes. Learning technology that helps save your mind and your emotions and your body is definitely a gift. So I say yes to that. And so Wim Hof, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Zach Bush, these are people that are just doing amazing work for human beings, right? To help them to live in a better way. And the reason I say Dr. Zach Bush is honestly, he understands the body's biology so well and disease from the Western medicine, medical, and the food industry. And it's just like, the guy's amazing. So if you're checking out any YouTube videos, those are 3 people I recommend. But I want to tell you about Wim Hof. The reason I'm making this video is while I was doing his practice today, I realized that my sister, who's doing amazing work, has basically turned her whole world around. She took bad news or bad situations or really, those points in time that you wonder if you're going to get through or how you get through them, the really big things that were major in our lives. And she turned it around into something good, which typically happens to all human beings that follow through, right? And don't hang on the bad stuff and get stuck. They move through it and they find that the bad stuff was part of the journey and it made you who you are and it's good. So I feel like that's what so many people need, is like this transformation. The butterfly, the cocoon, the moth, the dragonfly, anything that flies, honestly, I don't know. No, anything that transforms. The metamorphosis of life and like, it's not like they said, oh, I'm going to go do this. It happened to them. It was spontaneous. It was intuitive. It was natural. And what do we have that way as human beings, right? I mean, those are the questions that I don't know the answers to, but maybe it's somewhere in our whole package, right? Like the brain, the heart, the spirit. Maybe in there is where our transformation resides, right? But we have to get our yattering brains out of the way, for sure, guaranteed. I believe this to be true, and that's the meditation point. So Wim Hof, by stacking your breath and shocking your body, activating your nervous system in the cold water. So two practices: breath work, cold water therapy. Your mind, if it is full of incessant chatter, will shut the F up. It will. You cannot focus your mind and do these practices. You have to focus, right? You have to, and it's difficult. So if anybody wants to try it, I would recommend downloading the Wim Hof app. He's amazing. And I'd say, as a disclaimer, like, if you want, check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but then also that I would always follow the app, because there has been accidents, some people taking things too far, and because he does some different things. So if you're not doing it with a trained professional or with somebody who knows what they're doing, at least that's there and it's free. So I would do the daily breathing bubble every day on his app, and then I would jump in a cold shower every day and try to increase the time and get up to like 3 minutes every day would be ideal, right? And I'm not there myself, and I've been playing with the cold shower for quite a while, but I'll tell you one thing for sure is in those times, I am not anywhere else but where I am. I'm not believing some made up story I told myself about. I'm not acting out things that aren't, based on reality. Like, there's so many different things that you start to realize that are going on when you can get to where you are. And the truth is we live in so much abundance. The fact that we can connect more now than ever and we're locked down is actually kind of a gift. I do think that, because if we didn't have the internet, holy, like what did people do during the Spanish influenza when they were locked down? Did they lose their minds? Like at least here we can connect. We can connect, and we can choose what we view. We can choose what we put into ourselves. So, I don't know. All of a sudden I'm wondering why I'm doing this video, but I wanted to tell you about a way to shut up the nattering mind. That is one of them. The other thing I would recommend, along with, the breath work and the cold water therapy. And so that alone will take only about 15 to 20 minutes. I actually was going to time it today and I didn't. I forgot. But I would recommend doing 5 rounds of breath work and 5 rounds in the breathing bubble, and then quick cold shower. So honestly, that should probably only take 15, 20 minutes. Then there is a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation that utilizes the same principles as kundalini. And Kundalini yoga, the thing that I've found so amazing about it, and thank you, Danny, for getting me into that, is, and for what you're doing with it, it's amazing, actually. It's yoga for energy body. It's not yoga for body. It's not yoga for mind, because they all exist as well. This is yoga for energy body. So, and it holds on to a lot of things. So it's actually called the crying yoga in some circles, because it will release emotional baggage, basically, that's stuck in you when your energy gets freed up. And that's the same thing that Joe Dispenza does. Joe Dispenza and Kundalini Yoga are very similar. They're working with the energetic body to set you free from the things that are holding you back. So what if intuitively your energetic body was perfect, which I believe it is, and it's always been there, it's always in there, we just ignored it, and it gets stuck into these traumas and these feelings that hold us back, right? So if that's true, which I'm thinking it might be, these practices release all that baggage and set it free again. So then your energetic body is suddenly in harmony with the planet and the rest of the world, or, and all other living things the way it should be, because it's got its own electromagnetic signature. So at that point, do you think that you're thinking and feeling the same way that you are right now? If you've released stuff that's been bogged down in your body for years? I'm thinking not. So, when my friend messaged me, and I could see this morning that they were at their wits' end, right? And probably it's just life, it's kids, it's, situations, it's coping, it's, the normal stressors of life. But if I could take a half hour a day doing those 2 things, one is a meditation from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and his stuff is phenomenal. Check him out. He's amazing. Becoming supernatural. Well, like crazy, right? And then Wim Hof, wow. Top shelf, progressive. Yeah, high level thinker for sure. And then Dr. Zach Bush. I mean, he sets the bar now. He's like, wow, that's the kind of deep human being that I want to know for sure. Anyways, those people have just really opened my eyes to the reality of the world that we live in, and given me hope, given me a way to say, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm okay. Actually, I'm better than okay. I'm grateful that all that stuff that was like blah, 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 and I didn't like and I judged, I'm grateful it all happened, because today, maybe I can bring the boon back to my community, right? And say like, hey, honestly, just there's some basic ways to start shifting the way you look at every day. And all it is to do the things that your mind says, no way, I don't want to do it. Because you can't change the mind with the mind. You need to open up the heart and the energy cycles and the energy body. You need to get it shifted and moving, shaking it up, getting it back to where it was supposed to be originally. And then you do what? With the body, you do things. You just do them. That's the action. I'm doing something different. And guess what? The results will be different. I'm doing this thing. And this thing gives me results. Right? So, I mean, day after day, it's those choices. Anyways, namaste, my friends. I don't know. I'm feeling yappy today. Here we go. I'm wanting to get some stuff going on though. So I have mentioned before that I was wanting to start sharing a little bit more about myself and my journey. And it's because I'm wanting to connect. I'm wanting to find my tribe. I'm wanting to see if anything that I've learned or, sparks interest or helps anybody or any darn thing, to be honest, because I'm just like you guys. I'm locked up, alone. Yeah, well, not alone, but locked up for sure. And much love and light. And I hope that, I'm going to be posting links to everything in underneath, because I guess this is going to be a YouTube video because I'm new to all this stuff, but this is where I'm going. I'm going to post random thoughts, observations, based on things that I want maybe conversations to get started, to be honest, with my friends and family. Because you know what? I feel like everybody's just sitting around kind of bored, maybe even. So at least I'll maybe put a little bug in your ear about something different we can talk about. Because there's a lot of stuff out there and it's motivational and all that stuff. And yeah, good. And let's kind of team up and cherry pick the best stuff out there and talk about it. Okay, let's get some real good stuff going on. That's what I want to see. That's how I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to do. And that's how I want to live. And I hope that you come too.